Imagine for a moment that every beat of your heart is not just keeping you alive, it is synchronizing with the very pulse of the earth. Right now, as you listen, your body is vibrating in resonance with the planet itself. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a measurable fact. For decades, scientists and mystics alike have found that our inner rhythm, the subtle oscillations of our heart and brain, mirror the magnetic waves of the earth. And within that connection lies a truth so profound it can transform the way you see reality forever. Because reality, as you've been told, is not something fixed. It is not a rigid stage where events play out in front of you. Reality is an oscillation, a living field of infinite possibilities, and the role you play within it is far more participatory than you may have imagined. You are not merely an observer, you are a co-creator. But how do we know this? The story begins with a man who should have never been a mystic. Bentov was an engineer, a survivor of the Holocaust, and a man of science who invented medical devices that still save lives today. Yet in the 1970s, while others built machines, he built something far more radical, a platform to study human consciousness itself. And what he discovered shook the very foundations of materialist science. Bentov found that during deep meditation, the human body begins to oscillate at around 7 cycles per second. This number may sound trivial, but it is not. It is the same frequency as Earth's magnetic field, the Schumann resonance. In other words, when humans enter coherent states of consciousness, we literally fall into rhythm with the Earth itself. And in those states, something extraordinary happens. The boundaries of individuality begin to dissolve. Consciousness expands. People emit photons of light detectable by machines. Random number generators deviate from chance, as if reality itself bends in response to intention. These were not hallucinations. These were measurements. And yet, decades before Bentov, a mystic named Neville Goddard was already teaching this without instruments. Goddard spoke of the I Am as the primal reality, the source code of existence. To him, declaring I am healthy or I am free was not empty affirmation. It was navigation. He taught that we don't create reality as much as we select it, tuning ourselves like radios to different frequencies of possibility. Feeling was the secret, he said, the visceral inhabiting of a state so fully that it crystallizes into fact. Bentov provided the engineering. Goddard provided the practice. Together, their work forms a map. And that map reveals a paradox. Reality is both scientific and mystical, measurable yet mysterious, structured yet infinitely fluid. But there is another part to this story, one that affects every single one of us today. The same principles that allow you to navigate reality consciously are being exploited by technology corporations. Algorithms, designed with surgical precision, have discovered that your brain takes roughly 3-5 seconds to release dopamine after seeing a stimulating image. They know exactly how long to hold your attention, exactly how to oscillate you between micro-pleasures and micro-anxieties. In essence, they hijack the same oscillatory system Bentov mapped, but instead of teaching you mastery, they keep you trapped in unconscious cycles. Every notification, every scroll, every suggested video is a manipulation of your frequency. So the question is not whether you are being manipulated. You are. The real question is, will you keep letting others decide your frequency, or will you reclaim the ability to choose? Let's go deeper. Bentov's model of the universe was not like the static cosmos we learn about in school. He saw it as a torus, a cosmic donut of expansion and return. At the center was the seed of infinite potential, the point where all possible realities exist before any one of them manifests. In physics, this echoes the quantum state, superposition, where particles exist in multiple possibilities until observation collapses them into one. But for Bentov, this was not limited to subatomic particles. It applied to us, to life, to consciousness. Every reversal point in the oscillation, every micro moment between heartbeats, between breaths, between thoughts is a doorway. In that infinitesimal pause, reality is undetermined, and in that pause you have a choice. Will you unconsciously carry forward the old trajectory, or will you redirect the wave into a new path? Goddard taught that the best time to do this was at the end of the day, just before sleep, when consciousness drifts but does not fully dissolve. In that liminal state, the rational mind relaxes its grip, and imagination can take root as if it were real. Neuroscience now confirms this. In theta brainwave states, the brain cannot distinguish between an imagined event and a real one. To the nervous system, vividly felt imagination is reality. This is why athletes who mentally rehearse gain strength, why patients who visualize healing recover faster, why coherent gratitude reprograms the brain away from scarcity. Imagination, when felt as real, reorganizes biology itself. Think of DNA, the spiral blueprint of your body. Bentov argued that it is not a passive archive of genetics but an antenna, transmitting and receiving electromagnetic signals. When your emotional state shifts, your DNA responds. Genes switch on or off in minutes. Consciousness modulates biology. Goddard said imagination reshapes substance. Bentov showed how, and this does not stop with the individual. When people enter states of deep coherence, their heart fields, electromagnetic waves measurable meters beyond the body, begin to synchronize. Entire groups can fall into shared rhythm. The Princeton Global Consciousness Project has measured global deviations in randomness during collective emotional events, moments when millions of people feel the same thing at once. Reality itself seems to ripple in response. If this is true, then revolutions, cultural shifts, and mass awakenings are not merely historical accidents. They are resonant fields of consciousness synchronizing across humanity. The Arab Spring, the sudden spread of the Me Too movement, the eruptions of collective change, all of them may be expressions of synchronized coherence destabilizing the old patterns. But again, there is a shadow. The same knowledge is weaponized. Algorithms deliberately keep people fragmented, oscillating between fear and distraction. Notifications arrive precisely when coherence might arise, splitting attention, destabilizing rhythm. You are being played like an instrument, not to liberate your consciousness, but to harvest your attention. So here we arrive at the paradox. You are both the wave and the ocean. You are both the particle and the field. You are the receiver, and you are the broadcast. And with every breath, every oscillation, you are given a choice, to unconsciously react or to consciously create. Bentov's death in a plane crash while carrying his manuscripts is often seen as tragic irony, but perhaps it was also proof of his own teaching. Consciousness, he said, is not bound by the biological substrate. Oscillations continue beyond the body. His equations, his insights, his maps, they ripple through us even now. Goddard's words echo the same. I am is the reality to which we must turn for the explanation of life. Together they left us a gift, a science of the sacred, a spirituality of the measurable. So here is the invitation. Become the conductor of your oscillation. Align heart, breath, and mind into coherence. Assume the feeling of the reality you wish to inhabit, and let that feeling rewrite your frequency. Every thought, every emotion, every intention is a vote in the great quantum field. You are not waiting for reality to happen to you. You are tuning into the version of reality you wish to live. The universe is a symphony. The question is, will you play your part unconsciously, or will you awaken as the musician who knows the score? Because reality is not discovered. Reality is selected, and the selection has always been yours.